Let's talk about write-offs. What exactly are they, and what can you write off when you have an LLC? It's a fun video today because hopefully by the end of it, you'll be saving some money. And before we get into the video, I want to mention that I am an affiliate for Busy, which means I can earn a commission if you use the link in my description to get started with an LLC. The reason I love Busy is because it's very easy to get your LLC created. It's cheap to do it because it's all done online as well. Remember, if you are starting an online business, that you should probably do it in the state of Wyoming. More videos on that if you check out my channel. With that, let's talk about some tax write-offs. With an LLC, you get what's called pass-through taxation, and that means that all of your business taxes actually go directly onto your personal return. So if you have a W-2 from a current job or maybe a previous job, it's going to be very easy to do your business taxes along with that personal return. And if you're using something like TurboTax, they do a really great job of walking you through the process. It's very easy to do, and you'll be able to file not only your business taxes, you'll be able to do your personal taxes. It all works very easily together. If you have an S Corp or a C Corp, I would strongly recommend getting a tax advisor. Unless you really know what you're doing, it's probably good to have a professional help you with taxes at that point. Here are 3 key takeaways that I want to speak about before we get into some of the common deductions that we could look at for our online business. The first one is the terminology of tax write-offs and tax deductions. Both of those are interchangeable terms. They mean the same thing. I may switch from one to the other throughout this video. You may hear other people say one or the other. They really mean exactly the same thing. And number 2, just because you have a tax write-off doesn't mean that you are getting that full amount back on your taxes. You don't get free things by having a tax write-off. This was probably the hardest thing for me to explain to my wife when we started this business. So I'm going to do my best to explain it to you. It is not an exact science, but I'll give you the general understanding of how it works. Let's just say you're in the 25% tax bracket and you make a combined total of $60,000 throughout the year. You would end up paying about $15,000 in taxes because 25% of $60,000 is $15,000. So if you bought a computer that cost $1,000 and that computer was used solely for your business, you would be able to use that as a write-off and expect about 25% on that purchase, which would be $250. Now, how does all that work? So if you didn't pay any taxes throughout the year and you made your $60,000, you're going to owe $15,000 at the end of the year in taxes. Since you have this $1,000 computer write-off, it's going to lower your taxes that you owe by $250, meaning at the end of the year, instead of paying $15,000, you would pay $14,750. So by utilizing that as a tax write-off, you actually end up paying less in taxes at the end of the year. Now, let's say you have a W-2 and you made $60,000 throughout the year, and throughout the year, you paid $15,000 in your taxes, and at the end of the year, you're filing your taxes. You have that $1,000 write-off for the computer solely used for the business. You would actually end up getting a refund of $250 at that point. There's 2 different ways to look at it there, but at the end of the day, you're actually just paying $250 less on your taxes for that computer you purchased and the $1,000 write-off. And number 3, if you're doing a write-off or deduction, it has to follow these 3 main points. Is it an ordinary expense? Is it necessary to the business? And is it not lavish or extravagant? A good rule that I follow, I just ask myself, is this a normal and necessary expense for the business in the pursuit of income? And if it is, then you're generally good to go to write that off. A great example is a computer that you're solely using for your business. That is certainly a normal expense that you're having for the business, and you're using that computer to do whatever you need to in the pursuit of income. I have a link in the description below with a document that is going to list close to 200 different products and categories and other items that are listed as approved deductions. So if you have a question on whether or not you can deduct something on your taxes, go ahead and check out that list. It's pretty extensive, but here I want to speak about a few of the more common ones for an online business. Let's start with your home office. Over the last several years, it's been a lot more popular for people to start their own online business directly out of their home instead of renting some office space, which is just simply not needed. For that reason, you can write off a portion of your home and the bills for your home once you find out what percentage of your house is dedicated to your office. The best way to do this is find out what the square footage of your house is, the square footage of your office is, and figure out what percent that is. For me personally, my office is 10% of the house. So I get to write off 10% of all of the house expenses. These are things like mortgage or rent for your house, the gas bill, electricity bill, water bill. All of these things that make the house functional are able to be written off as part of your home office. And it may not sound like a lot only having 10% of all these bills, but over the course of the year, it really does start to add up. And when you start doing all of these other tax write-offs together, it ends up being significant. Another expense is internet. You have to be on the internet if you're watching this video. That's another write-off that you can utilize on your taxes. And speaking of internet expenses, if you use your phone over 50% of the time for your business, that means over 50% of the time you are on your phone, it is for business related activities, then you can write off that portion as well. And that goes for not only your monthly bill on your phone, it also goes for a new phone purchase. Going out to eat is another write-off that you should definitely not be afraid to use. And it is good to use your best discretion here. If I'm going to lunch to meet with a client about a business deal that we're working on, that is 100% business related. And I'm going to be writing that off on my taxes. And that's much different than one of my friends asking me how my business is going and I tell them, hey, let's meet up for lunch and I'll tell you all about it. We're going to go to lunch. They're a friend of mine and I'm going to tell them all about my business. But chances are 100% of the time we are not only going to be speaking about the business and it's not going to be 100% business related lunch. In that particular case, I use my own discretion and I just write off 50% of the bill because I'm certainly there speaking about my business. We're talking about that. It is a business lunch, but I know in my heart of heart that 100% of that conversation is not going to be about my business. And in that way, I just choose to write off 50% of that lunch bill. That's it. There are so many write-offs that you can do, but here's a quick list of some of the common online business write-offs that you can do. Domain name and hosting, Google Workspaces or any kind of email, training and education expenses, logo design, LLC fees. If you click that link for Busy and you start an LLC, all of those fees can be written off. Any AI tools that you may use, SEO tools, email marketing, video editing software. There are really a ton of different write-offs that you can do, and I have a list of those close to 200 in my description below. If you want to check that out, feel free to do so, or leave a comment if you have any questions. And remember, whether you're watching this during tax season or not, it's really a good idea to start thinking about these things, start tracking them throughout the year, so when it does come time for tax season, you aren't overwhelmed with trying to find and figure out all the different write-offs that you have for the last year. And if you're watching this video and you haven't started a business yet, or you want someone to walk you through and guide you through all the steps that it takes to start an online business, I have a 30-day guide where I walk you through step by step. All you need is an idea to start with, and by the end of 30 days, we get you set up with the LLC, business banking, a website, logos, all the stuff is pretty great. Check it out at traffic.tv. Again, it's completely free. All you have to do is go there, put in your email address, and I'll send you one email every single day with a video in it, and we'll just go over the whole process of starting an online business. Again, that's traffic.tv, and I hope to see you there.